All right, welcome to another week of the Coaches Show. This week a little different. Don't have Coach Holting on, but joined by head coach of the Medicine Lodge football team, Jake Bjostad. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay, Jake, glad you came down and sitting in with us and excited to hear about all the success that Medicine Lodge is having this year. Sounds like you guys are doing pretty well.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. So let's back it up a little bit since this is your first time in. Anybody listening or watching? New coach down there at Medicine in the last couple of years. So if you wouldn't mind, let's get to know you a little bit, kind of your backstory. Where'd you come from? How long you been there? So let's start it off there. Where'd you go to high school at here? Kansas kid or?
Yep. So I graduated in 2010 from Hayesville campus, 6A.
Okay.
And I went and played football at Garden City Community College in 11 and 12. And then I went and was a student only at K-State. I actually dropped out for a year, went back to K-State, and graduated finally in 2017. So kind of a long journey, but we got it done eventually, and came down here in 17. And I was an assistant for Josh Barr for 3 years. And then 2 years ago, year and a half now, I took over the program here. So
okay, now how does somebody from Garden City to Manhattan to Hayesville starting off? How do you end up in Medicine Lodge?
My wife is from Medicine.
Okay,
so she graduated there in 2011.
Okay,
so yeah.
Okay, so on staff then for the first couple years, and then taking over the play calling and the head coaching duties last year. What kind of season did you guys have last year?
So last year was tough. We went 2-5. We had so many COVID issues. It was kind of crazy. I mean, we had a game against actually Pretty Prairie, ironically, because we played them last Friday, 2 days ago. We had a game versus them, and all of our O-line was out with COVID. So we ended up starting our freshman backup quarterback at right guard.
Wow.
And we lost 56-20, I believe, was the score of that game. I mean, that's kind of the story of the year last year. We were right there in so many games. We never got 45. It was just pretty much if there's a talent differential between you and the other team, it's a 45 almost every time.
Yeah, you see that a lot in the scores. And that's usually speed and talent in eight-man seems like to be the key factor.
Yep, speed definitely makes a big difference. So, but yeah, we were right there, and we kept getting hit with COVID. We only had one guy, I believe, that started that was a two-way starter that was in every game.
Wow, that's tough to deal with.
And so yeah, it was crazy. And so this summer we hit the weights, and I'm promoting powerlifting. I've been the powerlifting coach down there for 4 years. I've been on them about summer weights. I've been at summer weights every single day for 5 years. Even when I wasn't part of the paid program, I was there to make sure those guys knew this is how we are going to win.
That's interesting. In the shows I've done with Coach Holting, it almost seems like that's one of his focuses also. And it seems like in football programs that almost the culture of the football team starts in the weight room, or that's where it's built and sustained. And where did you have a program that you were in at some point, either playing ball in high school or college, that you modeled kind of that culture after, or where'd you get your sense of culture and work ethic in the weight room from?
So my senior year, I played for Mike Schartz, who's now the head coach at Cimarron. And he's a heck of a coach, one of the best coaches in the state. He also is one of the best powerlifting coaches in the state. And so I was a little bit late. He was late to my game, I guess. I mean, I was a senior then, but he really started to transform our program. We didn't do too well that year, but he really started to make some headway. And powerlifting-wise, we were lighting it up. I mean, we had guys that were doing big-time weight. Obviously, at a 6A school, being strong isn't it? I mean, you have to have a couple of D1 recruits basically to be competitive. We lacked that at the time, but now he's doing the same thing there at Cimarron and having huge success. And I really am. He's kind of my mentor. I mean, he's a guy that I base everything that I do off of what he did, what we did, what he's doing now. So yeah, except offensively, we're totally different on that. But in terms of programming and building the program, I think Coach Schartz is a big impact on what I do. And I would say my biggest thing that I've kind of picked up from him is you can squat and you can bench, and that's cool. And I've actually heard Coach Holton talk about this. But you have to do all the accessory lifts. You got to hit every muscle group. And clean is really the one that represents an athlete.
I've always thought that too. You can, like you said, you can bench, squat, clean, but the clean, and almost vertical and clean seem to be kind of the two key factors when you're like, how athletic is a kid? Like, well, let me look at his vertical and his hang clean.
Yep. 180-pound kid that cleans 300 pounds is usually the best athlete on the field.
Yeah. Yeah. So what type of offense do you guys run up there at Medicine, down there at Medicine?
Yeah. We're spread. So a lot of things that I picked up from Coach Ibarra, and I was under him for 3 years. And honestly, us being 6-0, I mean, he's probably a guy that doesn't get enough credit for where we're at, because I coached under him for 3 years. He left, and he went to Augusta. Now he's a coach for Friends University. I mean, that says everything about what type of coach he is. He's a great coach. And I picked up a lot of things from him, and I've kind of gone in a different direction. We're a spread team, but we like to run the ball. So a lot of teams spread it out so they can throw a bubble, they can throw slip, they can throw these quick hitters. But for us, I've really been focused on being balanced now, which wasn't necessarily how we used to be. And I've called plays for 4 years, and it's kind of evolved into a very balanced offense. I mean, like right now we're 1,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing. And so we're one of the top offenses once again. We've been a top offense for basically all 5 years that I've been there, whether he was calling plays or I was calling plays. And now we're finally putting together. We've always been able to get the chunk, but we couldn't get 3 yards when he needed it.
Yeah.
Now we can get those 3 yards, and that's really been the difference for us being 6-0 this year.
What was the difference in now your second year of head coach, 3 years on the staff as O coordinator before that? What was the biggest difference making that leap to head coach from offensive coordinator that you thought, oh, now I'm in control of everything now? Or what was the toughest transition or the biggest difference that you noticed?
I would say I was already scouting maybe let's say 10 to 15 hours extra from practice and everything like that. So between teaching and coaching, you already got 60 hours a week. Then you add 10 to 15 if you're a coordinator. Then you add 10 to 15 if you're a head coach. So the biggest thing for me is I have Bruin, he's 3 years old, Valerie's 1, and I've got 1 on the way. And so my wife has carried the load.
I've got 5 kids, so that's a lot to handle.
Yeah, so
props to all the wives out there.
Yep, for sure. And 80, 90 hours a week, it wears on me. But I mean, I tell her every day, I'm like, I literally could not do this without you. I mean, it's not good for her. It's a lot of time.
Well, I've heard before that a coach's wife, especially during season, it's almost like, I'll see you in November.
Yep.
So getting into this season now, 6-0, first time since 2006.
Yep.
Past all the COVID issues from last year. So going into this season over the summer, the weight room, what were the expectations, finally getting to play a normal season, if you would, without having to, there were still some COVID issues around the state, and you guys might have dealt with some this year, I'm not sure, but being able to look at a season saying, okay, that kind of COVID year is behind us. What were the expectations over the summer and going into the season this year? Were they 6-0? Did you think you had the capability to do that?
I think, I mean, we definitely have the mindset that even it doesn't matter what's happened. Actually, the last time that we played Attica at home, even we beat them 36-16, and so it doesn't really matter. I truly feel like the guys go into every game expecting to win, and I do think there were expectations of being here, but I don't know if we never really talked about being 8-0 or 6-0 or whatever. We just focused on the moment. And I mean, we had a lot of turmoil. We actually lost 7 players from last year's team. There's 3 guys that could be playing for us that aren't on the team currently. One because of a medical issue, 1 transferred to Chaparral, 1 transferred to Maize South, and all three of those guys would be all league or all district this year.
Wow, that's a lot of talent lost.
Yes. So there was a lot of turmoil over the summer, and we battled through it. And I mean, like I was telling you before, Chance Winter is our quarterback. He played 2 years of O-line for us, and then came over and played tight end. We had a mono case, and he stepped in at Q for a couple games last year. We kind of got we weren't planning on that, and he really showed the type of leadership that we coming into this year. We were like, man, we have to capitalize on that. And really, with all the turmoil over the summer, he was the thing that galvanized our team.
That's not a transition you see very often from O-line to tight end to quarterback.
Not too often. So, yeah, the expectations were definitely there, but we were really taking it day by day because there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
We had kids transferring out every week, it seemed, over the summer. And so there was just question marks all over. And so once we got to that first game and we won, we had a great unit. We had guys that we knew were going to stay. We felt really good about moving forward.
Now, I think I think the first mention that I kind of caught of the success of Medicine Lodge was that Skyline game, which was all over Twitter. The finish of that game looked like a heck of a tie ball game going into the last play of the fourth quarter, then a huge play by one of your defensive backs to break up what looked like
Weedle.
Yeah. And then so I kind of got to following Medicine Lodge a little bit after that, thinking, man, that sounded like a big game.
Yeah.
And then so homecoming week last week, talked a little bit with Holting about kind of all the homecoming week's a busy week for everybody, the kids, the staff, how do you keep your kids focused during homecoming week? And just say, hey, guys, don't forget there's a football game at the end of this week.
We had a lot of fun. And I think that's been the biggest difference for me from year one to year two is I've really loosened up, which sounds crazy. And it's like opposite. Coach Schartz would kill me for loosening up on him. But, the fun factor has really been a big thing for us. And so we allowed them to enjoy each moment. And I never really had to get on to them. We reminded them at the end of each practice, hey, this is a fun week, but remember, it's all about Friday night. So we did remind them, but I think overall we have 23 guys out, and those 23 are focused on winning. And I don't have to do a whole lot to make them focus on it. They just have the right mindset. You know what I mean? We're there now.
Yeah. Yeah, game by game, you start winning, and like I said, after, kind of getting over that turmoil from the summer, it's like, hey, this is our group, you guys are here, let's focus week to week. Now, next week, or this coming week, big game against Attica. They're 5-1, you guys are 6-0. What's the mindset going into this week?
There's a lot of rivalry there. I mean, Attica is only 20 miles from Medicine. We split kids, so Sharon is located 10 miles right in between each. 10 miles from Medicine, 10 miles from Attica. There's some kids that go to Attica, some kids that go here to Medicine. So there's a big rivalry there, and I think our kids will be more ready to play than they have been all year.
That's good.
Yeah, I think they're very focused on playing Attica, and they probably have been too focused on that for about 3 weeks.
Is that going to be a home game for you guys? Is it at Medicine or is it at Attica?
It's at Medicine.
Home game. Well, that's always a bonus to get a big game like that on your home field.
Yep. We just got to keep them focused on their actual assignment, not their guy they know across from them or anything like that. Focused on what we're supposed to do, rather than getting heated, getting the heat of the moment and make a dumb play or just try to beat guys just to beat them. If we work within our offense and defense and within the scheme, it's going to be a great game. I'm really excited.
Yeah, well, I think everybody is. A big game, district play.
Yep.
A lot of things on the line in a game like that. Now, the success of this season, though, isn't just at the varsity level. We were talking about a little bit beforehand. It seems to run all the way down, all the way to grade school. Talk a little bit about the success of the level of each program you guys have going right now.
Yeah, so total we are 19-4, and actually the grade school plays today at 1 and 3, I believe. So hopefully that's 21-4 when we go to bed tonight. So third and fourth is undefeated. Middle school is undefeated. JV, our high school JV is undefeated, and then the high school is undefeated as well. So it's really a credit to the coaches. I mean, especially all the Braves coaches work really hard, and they're out there every time we in practice. They're practicing with their guys, and I love watching little kids play. It's pretty awesome to watch little league practice and just watch them have fun with it. But then our middle school coaches, we probably have the best 2 middle school coaches in the state. One of them is Judd Dorman, who's arguably the best quarterback that's ever played.
Oh, yeah, I know Judd.
Ever played at Medicine. And then Nathan Honus, who's his head coaching record for middle school is something like maybe 25-2.
Wow.
25-3. So, yeah, there's they have a heck of a coaching staff. And then for us as well, Shane Hahn is my defensive coordinator. He puts in as much time as any DC in the state. Nick Schmidt is my special teams coordinator. He puts in a lot of time, and he's a JV head coach. He does a heck of a job. And then James Manning is my O-line coach, and really he's helped transform our offense into a kind of ground and pound when we need it. We've run for over 250 yards a few times this year, and that's never happened since I've been here. So
yeah, not typical 8-man style football.
Yeah. And also Manning has also been he was a physical trainer for SMU and K-State. We're really lucky to have him. I mean, he's a big time guy, and so anytime there's an injury, he's down there evaluating it, and he is the best evaluation any assistant coach in the state can give a kid. So I immediately know if the kid's going to be back, if he's hurt and out. I mean, it's awesome because we're keeping kids safer because he's on the sideline. So everybody within our program really deserves a shout out.
That's great. How much of that Little League program, the Braves how much of that do you have your hands on? Are they running the same type of offense that they're going to be running when they get in high school? Are you working with those coaches at all to kind of have a little bit of a feeder system coming up, when they get into high school? How hands-on are you with those coaches and what that younger kind of grade of football is doing?
I think I'm very hands-off. I present opportunities for them. Like I'll give them the playbook. I'll walk them through it, and I've talked to several of the coaches about like what we do, our calls, what the motions are called, and I think they run a similar offense, but it's not exactly the same, and that's okay. I mean, that's really what spread's about too, is being able to get in different looks and utilize mismatches that they have, and their mismatches are different than ours, so I don't want them to run the exact same offense. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So it's a good deal. I think the biggest thing that we've tried to do as a high school program and coaching staff to connect 3rd through 12th, is giving them opportunities. Like the high school will go visit the grade school on Friday mornings, and so they play Just Dance. Everybody has fun, and that's a cool opportunity. We have our Little League camps, and the high schoolers basically run it. So they get to know all those kids. We have a jersey auction, and half of the little kids are wearing them during those Friday nights and taking pictures with those.
That's fun.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of. I try to create as many opportunities as I can to make that web more connected. You know what I mean? And so we have good coaches. I let them coach. All I try to do is make sure that everybody feels like it's a community.
Yeah. Speaking on community, how much of a difference is there and a buzz in the air when you've got a successful, season going 6-0. I know the case here in Pratt it is, when the football team's winning and when things are going good, there's just a different buzz around the community. Football is always the big talk, in the coffee shops and the barber shops. And when you're 6-0 or, 5-1, there's just that different feeling. There's a little more excitement. There's a little more people that show up to watch. There's, more people wanting to talk to you. So yeah, how fun is that being 6-0 and seeing the community kind of really rally around and get excited about the season?
Well, that's very cool, and especially this is our peace treaty year, and so we had the big peace treaty. Everybody's families down, and we were I believe we were 4-0 at that weekend, and you could just feel the difference in the buzz and the feel of being the head coach, walking around. People were basically stopping me like I was a celebrity almost. I mean, and that's cool. And I think the kids were experiencing that. And that has not been the case really in my 5 years there. So it's a different feel, and it's very cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else you want to touch on, or I don't have much else for you unless there's anything we didn't cover.
I think it's it.
I think we had a pretty good run down there, getting to know you, getting to touch on the success so far this season, and then really just it's exciting to see kind of the culture. And you hear coaches talk about that a lot, the culture. And a lot of times it takes that second, third year to really kind of get into that culture, get it established. So to see you guys 6-0 down there in Medicine, looks like that culture and kind of all that hard work that you're putting in is definitely paying off, and excited to see what you guys do this week against Attica. And wishing you guys luck, and hope to have you on again, and maybe we can recap that Attica game and heading into the playoffs and see where it goes.
It'll be very cool.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in today,
Appreciate
Jake.
it.
It was nice to meet you, and
well.
good to hear about the success of Medicine. So best of luck to you, and maybe we'll talk in a week or so.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds good.